What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology retold action. Spawning in the top of the map in the blue color, playing as Fushi. His name, while it's written as speedrun to 1200 with China, I believe, in my heart of hearts, that this is actually the legend Hell's Ravage. His opponent today in the red color playing as Poseidon is none other than Tunison. For those of you playing at home, Tunison is going up against the Mister in his next match in Clash of Immortals. So he's got his work cut out for him moving forward here. But we'll see what this game is going to bring and all the good stuff that comes for it. Relics on the map. Let's have a quick look. Over here we got the arrows of the Alpha, giving a little bit of bonus damage for those towers. On the right hand corner we've got Ulla's bow, making the ranged attacks go up by +1. And over onto the bottom we have Tower of Cestus, making those towers do actually bonus damage versus myth units. Yes, the Clash of Immortals is on Saturday, which, depending on if this video is on YouTube or not, say hi to the YouTube audience, everyone. It will probably be today, most likely. Anyways, nonetheless, we're on the map Ghost Lake and all the good stuff. So we'll see how it's all going to go now. An interesting thing here, I think the more I'm playing with Fushi, the more I'm feeling like Fushi is the clear powerhouse inside of the Chinese pantheon. He's got some very, very overtuned units, as opposed to some of the others that don't really. But some very, very overtuned units, and has a lot of like little trickery inside of him. He's got both, I believe he's got Zhen Nu, right? Yes, he's got both Zhen Nu and Chiyou. So he doesn't have that potential to do really defensive boomy play, but he has got all the offense in his package. And also, like, if you go through Zhen Nu, you've got yourself access to reincarnation, which is... This is a technology that comes through Zhen Nu. Let me just show you guys it, for those of you playing at home. It's relatively expensive, but it does make your units... effectively, you get... Well, every 5 that die, you get 1 for free. So that's like a... Is that like a 20% discount on your unit? Think about it like that. Not exactly, but, you know, it's pretty good. So that is like a very, very powerful way to kind of like get value, as we see a little indecisiveness here from Hells. He's deciding to go through Chiyou. On the bottom here, Hermes for Tunison, as no real surprises there. But, you know, you do have to be a little bit careful when playing against China. You can't really go for that fast second talents that are just in case the Pioneers are there to make your life a little bit tricky. But that being said, the Pioneers do basically lose to everything. So if you get out your defensive units, you can very easily just beat them off. That is at the very start of the game. That is at the very start of the game, right? So the Pioneer, you say there's like 3 Pioneers or something, and you get yourself out Atalanta, you're going to more than be able to just take all 3 of those out. No problems asked. Nonetheless, Tunison, he's wandering up to this top pit, looking to grab this relic. It looks like just Ulla's bow to be grabbed here. Trying to make this little thing stay in one spot, but it looks like I can't. There we go. We figured it out. Ulla's bow on the way, which is going to be nice for him. As the Pioneers, I just simply going to be checking out the town center. But as this is happening, the stock standard here from Tunison to send the centaur into the main base, looking for a little bit of damage here and all the good stuff. Meanwhile, the Pioneers looking to wander forward. There is that Yatsu here. I think it's... I'm still not sure. I'm like 95% sure that Yatsu is perfectly fine. But Yatsu, maybe. Anyways, I don't know. Nonetheless, a little bit of damage onto the lure there. For those who don't know, it only has 50% pierce armor. I didn't know that. I was like, why is he attacking this? But obviously, a little bit of knowledge here from Hell's Ravage is maybe he can possibly take that out, as the Pioneer is going to try and get damage done. But in the main base, there is a Centaur looking for little bits of pressure as the Centaur to come back. As the pioneers to retreat all the way back home, and we'll see where to next here. Double stables for Tunison is just going to be going into Mass Hippias. Now, like, the thing is here, Mass Hippias is actually quite difficult to deal with just in general. But as China, the tricky part is affording these help. I can't speak. The tricky part is affording these halberdier. Halberdier costing 50 food. It's quite a bit. And yeah, while they're absolutely a nightmare for the Hippias to deal with, they're quite difficult to get out because you're like wanting to build these Kwao and you also want to get all the villagers onto food to get all the halberdier out. So it does make things very, very tricky. As the halberdier to move up to the top side here, you also have to deal with the centaur spammage. So Hippias Centaur, even though those pioneers are pretty good, because they're like ranged heroes, right? You can space them. They've only got 14 range. The Centaurs only got 12 range, but you know, you can space them with the halberdiers and everything else. Nonetheless, Townsend are now coming down for Hell's Ravage, as he's going to be ready to grab the gold mine over here and all the other good stuff. Has nice defense thus far. He's also already got himself this upgrade, which will give a very, very nice snipe on the centaur there. Give a very, very nice amount of damage onto those Hippias. So you can see that the speed on that snare goes down to 3, so it's impossible to escape the clutches here, so to speak, of these halberdier. And then also dropping down lightning weapons as well to just make sure of it. But he does lose 2 Yatsu there as the Tunison Theseus. Whoa. I'm a little confused. Wait, how does this work? Oh, it's only on cavalry. It doesn't make everything slow. It's only cavalry. Okay. You learn more. The more you learn, the stronger you become, as the Theseus will end up falling. A house to go down over here as well, as the villagers will pop up to the top, get themselves onto that food. There is a gold mine over here that is able to grab, so he's not going to be too upset about this. Definitely don't want to be losing the temple here, but a great start for Hell's Ravage in this game. Tunison has not really been able to make a whole lot happen in the early stages of this game, and yeah, Hell's Ravage is going to be very, very happy about this, though we do have Dionysus pre-queued. It's a ways away from actually being able to be grabbed. 10 villagers on food, 6 on gold, 6 to come over here. So 16, 17 villagers on food here total. Should mean that food is going to come in very, very quickly. But it looks like there's going to be some sort of combination attack here with that God Power, bronze, and a huge amount of Deuterinos. He's also already got himself out the Pegasus from Bridal of Pegasus. No, from Winged Messenger, excuse me, not Bridal of Pegasus. It's got the cool little golden wings. So Bridal of Pegasus here. Get that one for free. Nice. As the unit's moving right up to the top corner here. Let's see what he sees as he's coming through. He doesn't really... Well, he does know that there's villagers over here, but he's wandering over onto this right side. The tower will be spotting this as Hells preemptively pulls his villagers back. Wow, damage actually kind of done here in a big way without even entering, as the army of Hell's Ravage circling around trying to find these guys. There is a little sneak out over here, but this is walled off. As one villager to come over, will he be able to get the wall? Oh, he doesn't quite get it, and that's a villager kill. That was a big, risky move from Hells. It was super close. Tunison manages to get a little bit of something for it, as the halberdier getting their first Hippias snared up, and we do see the wall coming up over here as well. It is a little bit of a gap here, it looks like, as a market to get set up, the army to come through here, getting even more damage done onto these bad boys as 2 more do fall, and there is a gap over here, unfortunately, as soon as it manages to get out of here. But this is like the absolute nightmare case as a one town center sort of player, is to just lose all of these Hippias here. But in the main base, we do have military academies. Going to be going into Hippias, I think. But the problem here is, one, if Tunison reads, sorry, if Hell's Ravage reads this, as we see 3 military academies, if Hell's Ravage reads this, he's going to be able to go into Fire Archers. He's already got the Halberdiers out, so he just needs to, probably, the simplest way to do this is to swap the Peach Blossom Spring over to wood, get himself a ton of wood here. He's actually advancing to the Heroic Age, which might be a little bit greedy, but nonetheless, grab all of the wood he possibly can out of that Peach Blossom Spring, drop down a bunch of those, what are they called? I've actually just forgotten their name. Machine Workshops. Drop down a bunch of Machine Workshops, and then be ready for the Halberdier. No, sorry, it's for the Hapaspis. The Halberdier already there. He doesn't need any more to deal with any more Hippias potentially coming, but he does need answers for everything else. And I guess the other thing is a little bit of problems potentially could be Toxotes coming his way, so he does need to scout out what's coming for him. But nonetheless, the Hippias to come through. And I guess you do need the Heroic Age as well, so that you can potentially get yourself access to some cavalry units, as we do have a Machine Workshop now placed down, putting a couple of these down over here. As the Quailfu going to come over, repair this one up, back to full HP to try and just hold on. As the army to charge forward, there's not any answer to these Hippaspis for the time being. I mean, you can drop Forest Protection down onto this town center, but this is a pretty scary army, it looks like. Do these guys have their bonus damage? No, they don't have any sort of damage here as the Forest Protection gets dropped down. Going to be stunning up one unit there. Wasting 60 favor on that one to send Tunison packing. I mean, he keeps his town center alive, and he does have all of the Chukonu to come forward. And there's a lot of resources to be spent here. Now, one thing he could do is grab this. It is a little bit expensive. He could grab this training yard. That's going to speed up all of the unit production here quite a lot. There's a battle later come through as well on the back of this position. And Tunison says, if you're going to put Forest Protection over here, I'm going to attack you in your main base. Because why not? Going straight after the temple. Always nice. To clean off the temple, they have 300 resources. So that's a pretty expensive building going down the drain. As Hell's pulling back nicely over here. Does charge in with that Tao Wu, but a little bit of miss micro there. As Tunison drops bronze, picks off the tower. We're going to stay on this position. And Hells just has to retreat back. I mean, one thing he could do, I mean, he still has to finish off that Peach Blossom tree, but he could kind of just leave this main base and save all his villagers up to this position over here. He's got the wood here. He's got the gold here. He's got the wood here. He's got the food over on that top corner for a little bit as the army to charge into the town center and just try and hold on here. As now we've got Peltast to come through. Anything coming out of the ballet, not just yet, would be definitely worthwhile here. As the town center looks like it's going to be going down. The town, he does have some Wuzu Javelin here as the units to charge out, taking the fight for the moment here. Lots of Shuko Noob for the time being. All of the Hippias almost have been taken out here, but one or two Peltasts are going to be very, very difficult to deal with. As nice micro here from Hell's Ravage. He actually needs to pull back even further with those Chuko Nu, but he is managing to limit the actual amount of damage that these bad boys are doing. Onto this, we see food coming through from that Peach Blossom Spring for the time being here. And do we have any... We need to see some cavalry here to deal with those Peltasts. It's very, very difficult to actually deal with the Peltasts as the Chinese. The only unit you've got is that in the Heroic Age is that White Horse Cavalry, and we are starting to see that one coming through. But they are very effective at it, and if your opponent doesn't have the Prodromus or the Hoplites, it can be pretty impossible to actually keep those alive in a fight, because they do a lot of damage. Take a look at them. 1.5x versus archers, and then doing 15.6 damage a shot. So a big amount of damage to take those Peltasts out. But Tunison, he is still putting the pressure on for the time being. A house to fall down over here. I didn't realize you could get that technology from a house here. You get the one that boosts your wood income. It's really, really good. But it might be Hell's Ravage's idea to just hold on for another little bit of favor. If he gets all that favor in, he might be able to... No, he's going to get this upgrade here. Hooves of the Wind is actually really, really good because it makes the cavalry stay alive against any sort of infantry. As the town center's still getting targeted down, the reinforcements getting collapsed on over here as the villagers coming over here to try and repair this one up. No... What, is it in? No, he doesn't have that survival equipment in just yet. So those villagers will go down very, very quickly. As the White Horse Cavalry to come forward. Great control here from Tunison. But the army of Hell's Ravage is looking like it might be able to clean up this all-in for the time being. As more units to come through, looks like the army here needs to retreat back. And Tunison clicks ceasefire as he's going to be pulling away. But one town center versus two town center? Hell's Ravage is now equal on the villager population. He stopped production of villagers in this town center. He's effectively been on one town center of production for quite some time here. I don't know if this has been on purpose or not, but like he might have cut it to just try and hold this all in, but he doesn't have an advantage on the economy at all. The game is incredibly close for the time being now. Yeah, I see this in the chat. The way that this Chuko Nu works is you have to wait. I think it's something like, well, it shoots 4 arrows. You have to wait till the 4th arrow shoots before you pull back. Because there is a reload time. If you shoot 1 arrow, the reload time is still 2.8 seconds. So you need to wait for the entirety of that, animation. So we see a second town center now up for Tunison. Hell's Ravage notices he's got that second town center there. He's going to be starting the villagers up again. So literally zero advantage here for Hell's in terms of economy. There's some hoplite raids to come up to the top. These things moving at 4.3 speed for the time being. We will see that wooden wall to get taken out as the villagers are all going to be pulling back up to the top side here. And now Hell's Ravage is going to start unleashing his own raids here. He's got to be somewhat careful. He does manage to snipe down a Pegasus, but guess what? That Pegasus is back in 10 seconds, so it's not really much. Actually, we can just sit here and just wait, and it's back. This is still the technology that rubs me the wrong way the most. I'm not saying that it shouldn't work this way. I'm just saying that the Raven takes 240 seconds. I'm not a Norse... I'm not a Norse sympathist. I'm not a Norse apologist. I'm just simply stating this technology rubs me the wrong way. Tell me what you guys think. Is it okay? 10 seconds. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Nonetheless, we do have now Hell's Ravage going for a big attack here at the moment. Artemis still coming through. Hell's is at full population, so he's actually not getting any extra villagers while this is all going on. Does manage to snipe down a huge amount of dudes here, and he will have himself lightning weapons here for a fight right now if he wants to, as he is splitting up his units nicely, moving those halberdier away from the fight. He knows he doesn't really need them for anything. As he charges forward, there's that lightning weapons getting dropped down as the units here are going to dive into the town center. But yeah, using the lightning weapons under a town center, great decision making from Tunison to just dive in there, get the garrison, and no problems. Lightning weapons will last. It looks like the entirety of Tunison's army is going to be getting cleaned up here, as he's going to be able to take out this town center and everything else. This is a huge amount of value right now for Hell's Ravage, kind of showing the way a little bit for the Chinese sort of way to win fights and things. We see this, the ceasefire comes in, but just too little too late in a way there. The town center will survive. Artemis is still on the way as a whole bunch of military buildings to get thrown down. I'm sure that the plan here, for some degree, for Tunison is just to go into Hoplite Peltas. This is the unit composition to go for. But I do really, really like the unit composition which Hell's Ravage is going to beat this one. You know, getting out those really powerful White Horse Cavalry. Also the Chiyou Nu, while they have only got 14 range, they're going to be able to sort of stay alive enough. And with some actual really good micro, I've actually started to work out, you can actually beat Peltast. I had one little moment of Peltast micro. It's pretty fun. But nonetheless, Artemis about to hit. We do see, for finally, the big, strong, powerful Nijar to come through. This guy is one of the powerhouse units for Fuji, which the other Chinese civs don't really have. They've only got their one Mythic Age hero. Not to also mention John Wick as well. I call him John Wick because he is the boogeyman when I see him. But anyways, fortified town center will end up going down to that earthquake. The ballet is going to survive, but the forest protection now gone. As more pressure still onto this position, trying to push off that gold mine, but Tunison does have himself several gold mines behind this. As the Chimera going to get sniped down. And Tunison is back up to full population, ready to continue in this game. The town center over here going up. Some villagers are actually going to make their way over here to get a little bit of shanking action. Wait, does he not have ballistics? He doesn't have ballistics yet, so already you can sort of out-micro this a little bit. Right, just going to pull back for the time being. There's that ballistics to come through. As Tunison now on the upward movement here to try and grab this position. He wants this town center. He wants a 4 town center advantage here, it looks like. We are seeing some nice raids to come through here from Hell's Ravage. He's looking for any sort of villager kills. This position. He does find just a little bit here as Tunison will be retreating back. As Hell's Ravage now pulling back in under his base. We will see him pushing forward with some other units, but he's got to get to the Mythic Age. This is the thing which I think Hell's has just waited that little bit too long here. That power of the Mythic Age, of Neja, of Yangwick, whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called. Let me look. Sorry. I can't keep calling you John Wick, can I? Yang Jian. The hoplites to chase everything around over here. Up onto this side. The ballet coming up to try and just hold on. Getting closer and closer to the Mythic Age. I kind of want to see him go through Huang Di rather than Gong Gong. Gong Gong has the Great Flood, and he is going through Huang Di. Reason is because the dragon is really, really challenging to deal with as Greek. You only get 4 heroes. Obviously, the champion Peltas with the poison arrows can be pretty good as well. But if you mix that with both the heroes, then you can basically kill off an entire army with 3 units. And I'm not over-exaggerating, I don't think, when I say that. There's the villagers to pull back for the time being here. See a machine workshop to come up on this side as well. Another machine workshop on the back. That's the ballet. Slowly but surely getting taken out here. Smack, smack, smack. Polyphemus the Great is in. It's always nice to see Sauron in the game. Well, I mean, you know who they modeled Sauron off, right? They modeled Sauron off Polyphemus, this guy. Not the other way around. Not the other way around. Now, there's every one of his god powers costing 100 favor right now. It's kind of interesting to watch Hells playing this one and basically just going full in onto god power recharges as his sort of general game plan. You do get a hefty amount of favor income as China. At the moment, he's getting plus 20 a minute, which that's quite a bit compared to plus 10 a minute that his opponent's getting. Obviously, only 2 villages on favor compared to like half the map being favored land here. If this was connected as well, he'd be getting even more. But nonetheless, the Mythic Age about to hit here, and I don't think Hells has got any sort of rush here. He's not in any. He shouldn't be in any rush to actually take a fight at the moment, as he does charge in onto here. Wang Di comes through, finishes up the dragon. Yinglong now in as the army to retreat back through the fortress here. As those White Horse Cavalry are going to try and charge in. We see the champion cavalry manages to finish up as the units are going to be charging past here to clean everything else up. Where's the dragon gone? Chasing down some hoplites over here for the time being as Tunison says, I'm a fan of this choke point here. Let me get that damage done. One idea here for players if you're in this sort of a choke point is actually to turn this ability here onto autocast, and then all of a sudden your units are all going to be able to attack for just a little bit. But nonetheless, the army looks like it's going to be falling here as the dragon over onto this side coming through to clean up the Petropolis and everything else. We do have that Lezu's Silk here as well. Absolutely crazy upgrade. But it looks to me like Hell's Ravage has now fallen. He's lost all his population before those technologies have come through. And he's still... Does he have himself... what can I see it? I don't think he's got himself the Imperial... I don't think he's got himself the Imperial Academy out, which he needs for both Neja and for Yangjiang. And look at these guys. Once this tech comes through, look at these guys. 240 to 281. He gets 40 HP there. Maybe not quite that much, but still 40 HP as Yinglong about to go down here. And it looks like we're not going to be able to see those heroes of might and magic from the Chinese Fuxi. But the game is done. And Tunison does manage to hold on for a victory here. I think he kind of got a little bit lucky here, to be honest, because I believe that if Hells had actually been training villagers from both of his town centers, which he wasn't doing, he would have been, over this period here, 50 up to 62, he would be at 74 villagers rather than at 62. And then that would have been enough to carry him probably forward to the Mythic Age much quicker. He made a lot of really, really good plays in this game, but unfortunately just kind of fell a little bit too far behind. This fight over here probably a little bit too quick. He didn't need to go for it. Once he gets the upgrades and everything, then he can start looking to push back, but a little bit impatient in the end here, and Tunison's economy, Tunison's population advantage and everything else does allow him to carry through. But a well-played game nonetheless. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.